Angeles interviews for Matt DeRubertis. Take one.
This is take 17, Lee.
Yeah.
You got a little too crazy in takes 13 through 15. Okay, so we had to.
Was it the crossbow? I'm sorry.
There was too much talking about the crossbow. Okay. Now make your serious face. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Hold that. All right. Well, hey everyone. Welcome to this fifth installment of the Adapt and Thrive series. This conversation series is all about how different people in my network, creators, educators, healers, have just risen up to what the challenges that COVID has presented in order to keep their work moving, to keep their lives thriving, and to keep themselves expanding in different ways. So I'm here today with some old friends of mine, Lee Young and Michael Weeks, some of my OG musician buddies. The first band I was in was with these guys, and we had a lot of fun playing music and writing music together. So I want to talk to you guys today about your Next World War project, which when I saw that video in the earlier COVID times, gave me a good smack in the face and in the heart in a good way. And just wanted to catch up with you guys about what you've been doing with your art since COVID and everything has happened. So let's start where at the beginning of COVID, what were you guys doing before that in your livelihoods and in your artistry?
Yeah, so we were working on music before COVID. We kind of formed this project sort of at the end of 2019. And obviously we were looking to 2020. We had a lot of plans for what that would look like, and a lot of that was producing and releasing music, but the other aspect of that was trying to figure out how to take this music to a live setting, which I was talking to Lee about, I remember early on. But obviously we know what happened.
You were talking to Lee?
What's that?
You were talking to Lee?
Yeah, like...
you guys still get along?
We still get along.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
It's mostly via email.
I wanted to
or
clear
snail
that
mail.
up. Yeah. So you guys, is this okay if you're sitting this close?
It's all right.
Okay. Yeah.
We work closely anyway.
You just let me know if there's a problem.
Yeah.
Anyways, go
appreciate
ahead.
There's always a buffer, but
yeah. Okay.
Anyways, yeah. So towards the end of 2019, leading into 2020, we're kind of making the plan for what 2020 would look like, and obviously that was massively disrupted by what's happening in the world. But in like a lot of ways, it didn't really change things for us too much, because we were sort of already just guys that make music in a studio together. We've never really been like a live band per se. Like, we're not like a jam band. We don't get together and like play our instruments. I mean, we do play our instruments, but we very much are more kind of centered around producing music.
Right.
So nothing really shifted too much. In fact, it like kind of simplified plans a little bit in that regard, where we could not really think about playing live anymore. So we just continued to do what we've always been doing, which is just writing and producing music
and
putting out
on the production aspect more.
Yeah.
Well, before I ask more about specifics with songs and stuff, Lee, tell us a little bit about like what your film life was like pre-COVID.
Oh yeah. So I have a background in doing cinematography for filmmaking, and actually I came to LA to go to school to do that.
And he'll probably be modest, but this guy has worked on some major pictures that you probably have seen. So we'll just say that. I won't make you name drop.
But yeah, definitely. Actually, as things were starting to happen with the coronavirus, I was on a job, and that job got shut down. Should I wait for this helicopter?
It's all right. It's LA.
Skip it. Yeah. So, anyways, I was working on a project, and the coronavirus was just starting to affect our production and actually got shut down. So I found myself, like everybody else, at home, not going in. But since we've started to go back onto set, we've had to take a test weekly to get onto set, and also, you gotta keep you're 6 feet away from everybody else, and there's a lot of...
So the environments they're employing a lot of measures.
Totally. And there's also a COVID supervisor usually on set that is making sure that people are...
New jobs created, COVID supervisors.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Is that what you're doing now, Michael?
COVID supervisor, yeah. Probably, yeah.
You're the COVID supervisor when you guys get together to produce,
yeah.
right?
Pretty much, yeah. That's right.
That's why we're so close.
So when... when you were talking about the project that got shut down and stuff, like, one thing I've been really interested to hear about in this whole series is just what people's experience was when coronavirus hit. Because, that was a massive pattern interrupt for everybody, and that was kind of the definitive moment where we all kind of had to make decisions on how we were going to roll with this.
Yeah.
So, we'll start with you, Lee.
You just mean like the...
Yeah, what was your experience like when it all kind of went down?
Yeah, for me it really was sad because what I was on was very close to finishing, right? So, and to the credit of the production I was on, they shut down anyways for people's health and safety, right? But we were very close to finishing. I think everybody was disappointed to not finish it out.
Yeah.
And also, in terms of music making, of course, Michael and I also could not meet and make music.
Yeah.
When things started happening as well.
So did that change your guys' approach of? Because obviously you kept going with what you were working on.
Well, yes and no. There definitely was a break, which we were not making music, and then I think we started to get the itch, like, oh, we would still like to make music, even this is happening, like, how can we do that? And,
I think a big turning point too was like when he returned to set, the weekly tests that they're doing was like kind of a way to gauge by week. We were only meeting weekly anyways, a way to like see if we could get together. So yeah, we did take probably a couple months off at the start of it.
Yeah.
Just to get your bearings.
Just to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, there's also uncertainty at that time as to how long things were going to be shut down, right? Like, no one knew that it was going to be a long-term...
Yeah, we were all in that space of like, I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. But, it sounds like you said you used the phrase, got the itch, and realized that you had to keep things moving forward in some way. Was that when, like, the inspiration for the video for being a robot came along?
I'll leave that to Michael because he was more involved.
So yeah,
I want to hear more about the origin story of that video.
Yeah, sure. So just to go back to the original question, like, so when we took time off, obviously life has changed drastically for everybody in so many different walks of life, and I think it kind of like, as everything was kind of getting stripped away, we were left with like the feeling of what really matters. And for me, and I know for us, like creation, making music, putting out any kind of art is something that matters to us. So that like that void could only be pushed off for so long before I think both of us were like, okay, we want to continue to do this. So when we got back together and started making music, there was actually a track kind of sitting on the back burner a little bit that we had made with our really good friend Ryan Lott. And so it just felt like the right time for that song to come out. It also kind of helped us bridge the gap between songs because we had taken some time off. So it just felt like the right moment to put that song out.
The way to go back into it,
yeah.
Well, it really captured a feeling, man. I mean, I remember when I saw that, everybody felt like it was at a time where everybody was just starting to grapple with the isolation that had come on and that just sort of feeling of caginess.
Right.
And it just kind of, that video went right to that like tender spot that everybody was in, you know?
Yeah, and like it was a little bit nerve-wracking putting that song out because it is a pretty sad, somber song, and putting that out during a really difficult, sad time felt kind of questionable, but people really liked it and received it. The footage was actually shot by our friend Eric Walter, who's another film guy and documentary filmmaker, and he had just taken his camera out into Los Angeles. I think it was like the first month maybe of our lockdown here.
Yeah.
And it was at a point when everyone was taking it pretty seriously, so the streets were just empty.
Yeah.
So he was able just to walk around and get footage of locations that otherwise would just be packed with people. Completely.
I'm most
empty.
definitely going to link to, there'll be a link in the video to this music video we're talking about for the song Being a Robot is Lonely. But basically in that video, you know, there were all these shots of just downtown LA and very populated areas in LA that were normally just bustling, completely empty. So yeah, be sure to watch that when this interview's over.
Yeah, so basically that came about that way. Eric had heard the song and he, you know, liked the song and had this footage, and so we sort of like pieced together a music video. Yeah,
and that song was kind of sitting like 90% complete.
Yeah.
Like it seemed timely to release it, but the conditions under which it were made. I mean, I think that was made in what, like early 2019.
Yeah, or even 2018.
I think
be honest.
it speaks to how, like, you know, when we make something, you never really know how it's going to fit into times. You never know where the thing is going to land, and then, you know, you might make something and sit on it for a long time, and then, you know, something comes up and it all of a sudden feels like super relevant.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
So
that's kind of what happened
cool
to
that
this
it
song.
happened
Yeah,
that way.
definitely.
Yeah. So, and I'm also hearing in that, like, you know, there was a little bit of fear to tap into that thing that everybody was feeling because it was a really tender place, but it sounds like it showed you guys that, like, you were able to touch on that in a way that allowed people to acknowledge the sadness that they were feeling with, and confusion that they were feeling with everything happening.
I mean, it also just felt weird, like, putting out music during this time. In a way, it's like releasing music is like, it's like a look at me moment kind of thing, and in a moment where everything feels like it's falling apart, it kind of feels counterintuitive a little bit to be putting yourself out in that way. But again, I mean, for us, it was just like we couldn't not do what we feel we're supposed to do, which is make and put out music. So for us, it's therapeutic, and I think if it's therapeutic for us, it's got to be therapeutic for the listeners.
I mean, that touches on, like, a deeper thing of, like, why people create. When you feel that calling to do something, we're not just doing it for ourselves. It's like, if you're tapping into something very real and authentic for yourself, it's not just a look at me thing. It's you know, this is how you want to serve your community by, like, giving some space for people to go into that feeling that you're putting out there, so they can feel some validation in that, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
I think with, like, the music industry now, it really sort of inflates that self-worship and look at me stuff. That's one of the challenges that we face, like, as artists, but, you know, making your moves from that place of, like, a calling and that authenticity is, like, you know, it's a deeply gratifying experience.
I think also, you know, we're lucky in that when the stay-at-home order was happening, that we were able to focus on artistic ambitions that we all of a sudden had a lot of time for. You know, obviously there's lots of other people that don't have the luxury of you know, being able to focus on something else, right? They have other stresses and everything. but that was really great.
Yeah.
All of a sudden there was all this time that was opened up to work on things that were.
So what new creative openings sort of came from, you guys dove back in, started working hard on stuff again. What sort of creative openings did you feel coming out of that period?
Well, I mean, basically.
Do you want to call the lawyers first?
Let's check in with the lawyers.
I mean, it's just the first thing is just this thing that we would normally do once a week. All of a sudden, we had a lot more time to consider the music, right? And I don't know. I think when we look back on this time, I think we might see that there is a lot of art from people who maybe didn't have the chance to before that had time freed up to I don't know.
That's been another majorly common theme is a lot of people discovering the therapeutic aspects of creativity.
Yeah.
A lot of people who don't view themselves as creative actually giving themselves the chance to take a shot at expressing their creativity, because we all are innately creative beings.
Yeah.
But in the hustle and bustle that is LA, that is our modern culture, it can almost be. I mean, creativity is celebrated, but for the hustle types, it's almost seen as a waste of time or something. It's one thing that I'm excited about is that it just seems like more people are realizing how special of a process that is to go through.
Yeah, I agree with Lee. I think that early on at the shutdown, when it was just everything was closed for a couple months, it did give us a chance, together and individually, to kind of reflect on what we want to do, where we want to go with our lives and our art, and I think a lot of people went through that change as well. And I definitely agree that I think that in retrospect, although this is a pretty terrible time, I think there will be kind of little glimmers of light that come out of this period. I think that will kind of carry with us, hopefully, in a positive way going forward.
Yeah. So I'm curious about what you guys have in the works. Obviously I experienced some of that today. But in terms of what your next moves are with, the next World War project, and the time that you've been spending investing in that, tell us a little bit more about where you see it going, or where you'd like it to go.
I mean, I don't know if either of us really have a roadmap for it, to be honest. I think we're just enjoying the process of writing and producing and putting out music. I mean, we've put out a few songs since that track, and just kind of continue to keep a steady pace of releasing music is kind of just the goal at the moment. And obviously we're working on more songs, and probably will hopefully have another song maybe before the end of the year that we'll put out. We're talking about an EP, an album at some point. But yeah, I don't really think we have.
So it's more important just to be really immersed in the process right now.
Yeah, I think that's all we
showing
ever
up
do,
weekly to create and keep exploring and spending time there.
Yeah.
So Michael and I have known each other for a very long time. Made music in various iterations for a long time. So I think it gave us the opportunity to look at how the process can be more fun, can be more fulfilling moving forward. Every single time you start a new song, it gives you the opportunity to look back on how you did the last one, and what inspires you, what's fun about how you're going to move forward with the next song,
right?
Or the next whatever.
I mean, the thing I like about your guys' approach is that it's not super goal oriented, and being overly goal oriented is one of those things that kills creativity faster than almost anything else I can think of.
Yeah,
It's you have a structure where you guys meet once a week and you give yourselves time to creatively explore what sort of ideas are there. And I think with a lot of creative work, that's the most important component of it, is giving yourself regular time and space to keep going back into that zone.
Oh yeah.
And that connects to, for me, that connects to like, a larger thing that's been coming up in these interviews, and what I've been thinking about is having faith in a process where you don't exactly know where it's going, but you keep showing up to do that work, to develop that part of yourself.
Yeah.
And so, it's cool to see you guys embracing that, even if you're not totally sure what you want to do with the project.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, that's what we do, is we definitely like show up despite knowing what we're going to do. And I think also there's an aspect to it, with us at least, it's like we're kind of our own music editors in a way, where we're not afraid to like abandon ideas if we don't feel like it's the thing that we should be doing. So,
yeah, or shelve it for a couple of years down the road when all of a sudden the opportune time comes up, when that song feels right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm pretty accustomed to long-term projects.
Yeah.
Because with the music, definitely we were learning how to produce as we've been going along, and as you go along, you learn shortcuts when you first start. Like you go along, you hit a wall, take a few steps back, figure out how to go past it.
Right.
It also, as I work in like the stop motion animation industry, it takes.
So you're a master of long form creation.
Well, I've had to be. I don't know how.
Talk about a practice in patience.
Yeah, I've definitely had to learn how to navigate long-term projects.
So that's reminding me of something, man. So I remember in one of our previous conversations, you were saying how you were getting ready to start that stop motion animation studio.
Yeah.
So with COVID and everything, how has that influenced that side of your work?
Well, yeah. So I do a stop motion animation studio with my fiance Ellen, and we've been making little shorts and commercials for different people for a while, a couple of years, not a long time, a couple of years. But basically, it's the same kind of thing as with the music. All of a sudden, you have a lot of free time, so you can devote it to things that maybe you wanted to devote some of your.
Did that allow you to get like a quicker transition into developing the animation studio?
Yes, it's still a very slow process. Like the thing I'm working on right now, it's like 45 seconds long, but I think we started animating it last spring. And
wow.
I don't think we're going to have a release until probably Halloween for what we're working on. But it's still like, it is strange to have so much emotion wrapped around something that's actually very short. In some extent, it's a very short thing.
Right.
But it also, like the songs too, it's very similar, because you'll work on a song for a very long time, and it's only maybe 3.5 minutes or 4 minutes, right? And then someone experiences it in that short amount of time, and all you can think about is the process.
Everything that you went through. In order to bring that about.
But I really, actually, I would love to be faster about doing both of those things. That's always the goal, is like how to be more efficient and keep it fun. It's really
totally
the trick.
Well, it reminds me of something this conversation is reminding me of something my yoga teacher would say, which is 80% of the work is just showing up.
Oh, absolutely.
And what the inspiration that I'm getting from the way you guys have been approaching your work is that regularity of just continuing to show up, because it's with these kind of long process type projects, it's easy to give up. And a lot of people who start new creative ventures end up giving up when the task seems so ominous, or they hit those roadblocks and they don't know what to do next. But if you keep showing up with dedication to exploring that project, then like you're going to get through it, you're going to learn things, you're going to evolve, you're going to get faster and more efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. I just say with the music, I'm still working on my own self-discipline to see things through myself, but it definitely helps when you have somebody else that
Yes,
for sure.
Accountability.
I meet with this person at this time on this day
Right.
Yeah.
every
Right.
week.
You meet with your lawyers. You guys,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
Sign the
work
deal.
some stuff out.
Yeah.
So you know. Yeah.
No, I mean he's right. I mean there's definitely an aspect to having like more than one person in a project that helps. If I was going it alone, it would definitely be more temptation to hang up the hat at certain points. But
Right.
I think I mean that's what's cool is like when one person kind of hits a point where maybe they're hitting a wall with something, the other person kind of sees a way through that.
Mhm.
So yeah, I definitely think it's been helpful to be working collectively versus being on your own.
Yeah,
Definitely helps.
yeah. So I think just as a suggestion to any viewers who are taking up newer projects or ventures from COVID, just having some sort of accountability. If you are working on something by yourself, finding another friend that is also working on something, so you can just check in with each other and keep progress moving forward, and just sharing what you do.
It's more fun too.
It is more fun.
It is.
Definitely.
Yeah.
As we learned today.
Well, I think this is a good point to wrap, guys. But thanks for your time, and thanks for making the stuff that you make. And then just as a reminder, I would definitely encourage you to check out the video to Being a Robot is Lonely. It really captures that spirit of those early days of COVID, and features Sun Lux on piano.
Yeah, we wrote and produced it together. Yeah. So but he definitely played piano.
Yeah, he's
And more than
another
that,
old friend of ours.
He's
so.
pretty good, I hear.
Yeah,
He's pretty decent.
He's pretty good. Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks,
and,
man.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, all right. Hey, that's feedback.
Uh-huh.